Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises. All praises. All praises. Put sevens in the chat. How that sound? Sevens in the chat if the audio is good. Put sevens in the chat if the audio is good. Shalom, Don Israel. Shalom, King. All praises. All praises. Sister Justice, all praises to the family. Good to see everybody back here again for another beautiful Sabbath. We got a great class ahead of us today. A great class. It's kind of a part two to the last class that I did. Shalom, Ray Israel. Shalom, Ray Israel. And I'm actually be going over Revelations, right? So we're gonna actually be going over Revelations. I'm gonna be putting together, I guess you can call it a series, and we're gonna just break down Revelations. I think right now we're in a time of prophecy. So we're about to start getting into some of the more spiritual aspects of the text. So I'm gonna be going through Revelation. So today I'm going to touch on Revelations chapter 13. Okay, so it's gonna be a good class. This actually, I was supposed to touch on Revelations 13, my last class that I did, but I didn't have enough time. So we're gonna touch on it today, and it's gonna be a good class today. Shalom, Sister Kim. All praises. I hope everybody's having a beautiful evening. Shalom, Sister Malaya. All praises. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump right into it. Okay, we're gonna jump right into it. So Satan, the accuser of the brethren, part 2. The white man is the devil. Revelations 13. So a lot of times, us as Israelites, we get a lot of flack for saying the white man is the devil, right? Everybody give us flack for saying the white man is the devil, okay? Now, before we go into this, I want to put this out here. We're not saying that this is a spiritual thing, okay? I need everybody to understand this. This is a spiritual thing, all right? So we're not saying that a lot of people, when they hear us speak, they like to, what's the word I'm looking for? They like to, not nitpick, but they like to hyper focus. Oh, they like to individualize it. Okay. When people see us talking on the street and we're saying the white man is the devil, a lot of times people, what they do is they individualize it. And what I mean by they individualize it is they think of their best friend as a Caucasian, or they think of their boss that's a Caucasian, or they think of their sister that her dad might be a Caucasian, or their father-in-law, and they think about it in an individual sense, and they say, well, this white guy was nice to me, or this white girl was nice to me, and how is that they're the devil when I have good? I've met better white people than I've met black people, and so on and so forth. But you've missed the whole point of why we say the white man is the devil. The devil can act. If you watch my class, go back and watch my first class that I did. The devil can work in any group of people. The devil can work in any group of people. The devil can work in black people. The devil can work in Asian people. The devil can work in Latino people. The devil can work in any group of people. Okay, we touched on that in my last class. Now, this is important to understand. The devil is a spirit that at any time can work in your loved ones, can work in you, even so. Okay, so we understand that. But when we say the white man is the devil, we're talking about his in a nationality sense, in a nation sense. We're not singling individualism with them when we're saying this. We're talking about as a nation of people, the devil and his antics are worked through one group of people on the face of the planet, and it's not even a contest. Okay, it's not even a contest. All right, so the devil is working through a group of people, and it's not even a contest, and the scriptures actually show you this. Okay, the scriptures actually show you this, and it cannot be argued. So yes, there is a race of people that the spirit or the entity of Satan is working through. Okay, and we're going to break it down. In Revelations chapter 13 gives you that understanding. It shows you, okay, what is going on and what took place, that this nation is now being controlled and driven by Satan himself, the spirit of Satan. So let's go ahead and get this real quick. Let's understand something. Let's go to John chapter 5 verse 19 real quick. John chapter 5 verse 19.
This is the book of John, chapter 5, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you,
Uh-huh.
the Son can do nothing of himself,
Mm-hmm.
but what he seeth the Father do.
Go to, I'm sorry, First John. Salakia. First John. First John.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 19.
Uh-huh.
And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness.
Right. So it says, we know that we are of God, and the whole world lies in wickedness. So the entire world is in wickedness right now. Now, when you read it in the ESV, it says 1 John chapter 5 verse 19, and the ESV says, and I like how it reads here, we know that we are from God, and the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. Okay, the whole world lies in the power of the evil one. So with that being understood, we know that the world is given into the hand of the evil one. Okay, this particular evil one that is speaking about is the spirit of Satan. Okay, we're going to get that understanding. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 4. Okay, so the world is evil. There's no goodness in this world. There is goodness in this world, but primarily evil is what is being promoted throughout the world. Okay, evil is being promoted throughout the world. This is going to be a class that you can share to your friends and family if they need to know why we say the white man is the devil. Okay, this is going to be the class for you. You can bring and share this class. You can take these scriptures and you can show all of your family, all of your friends, why we say that the chief families on the earth, which are the Caucasian races, is who the devil actually works through. Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 4 and read verse 4. We're going to break it all the way down today. 4 verse 4.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. For I know nothing by myself, yet am I not hereby justified. But he that judgeth me is the Lord.
Hold on 1 second. I think it's hold on. I think it's, go to 2 Corinthians. It might be 2 Corinthians. Salakia. Let me see if it's 2 Corinthians that I want. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 2 Corinthians, not first. Sorry, Salakia. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. Read that.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. In whom the God of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not.
All right. So it says that the God of this world. So I need everybody to understand that the God of this world is not Christ. Okay. The God of this world is not Christ. Christ even said it himself. He said, if this was my world, they wouldn't even be handing me over to die. So the God of this world is not Christ. The God or the spirit that runs this world is Satan. Satan is the chief spirit that rules this world. So now, if it's very simple. We can low-key close the book with this. If Satan is the chief ruler in the spirit, according to the Bible, of this world, what nations control this world? Is really that easy. If Satan is the chief ruler of this world, what nations control this world? What are the superpowers of this world? And that'll give you your answer of who this spirit is working through. Again, yes, the spirit can work through anybody with flesh. The spirit can work through our people. Satan's spirit can work through our people, and it can work through any other race of people. But who is the chief people that this spirit actually works through? And what does Satan mean? We talked about it in that first class. accuser, right? Or this accuser. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and let's get that real quick. So if you go to the blue letter, let's get what Satan actually means, okay? So watch this. So when you look at this word Satan, okay, Satan in the Hebrew, it means adversary. Let's go ahead and let's present it. We're going to look at the characteristics, all right? Context clues when you read the Bible. Context clues when you read the Bible. So this is H7854, okay? Satan means adversary, one who withstands, adversary, okay? That's the outline of biblical usages. When you look at the Strong's definition, it's an opponent. Who's the biggest opponent right now and the biggest adversary to the nation of Israel right now? Okay? Think about it. Who's the biggest adversary to black and brown people? Guess what? If you don't believe we're the Israelites, just who's the biggest adversary to the world in general? Who causes the wars? Who fights the wars? Who are the wars between? What's going on in the world? Yeah, sure, you can say China, but other than China and Iran, all of the chief families of the white man, Germany, Russia, America, Great Britain, right? Majority of the families of the Caucasian races are a part of being adversarial in some way, shape, or form to the world. Okay, so Satan literally means an adversary and opponent. Okay, so when you look at it in a greater lens and you just look at a context clues, you see, well, who's the biggest adversarial, who has the biggest adversarial spirit outside of the Caucasian man? Who colonized all of Africa? Right? Who went in and colonized the Congo? Right? Who led millions and millions of people into slavery over here in the transatlantic slave trade? Who killed and stole the land of the Native Americans? I mean, even if you think the Caucasian man is the Jew, who killed the Jews then? Hitler, a white man. Right? Am I right or wrong? So no matter how you slice it, no matter how you dice it, the white man in a race, we're not talking about individuality. We're looking at it the way the Most High looks at it. He looks at it as a race of people. He deals with people with their nationalities. When the king of Israel had the nation of Israel going off into sin, the Most High took everybody into captivity. When Israel went into captivity, guess what? Daniel, which was a righteous man, he went to captivity. Ezra, which was a righteous man, he went to captivity. Isaiah, which was a righteous man, he went to captivity. Jeremiah, which was a righteous man, he went to, when all of the nation of Israel went into captivity, it didn't matter if he was righteous or wicked. Tobit, he was a righteous man, he was in captivity. So the Most High does not look at things the way we look at things. So you got to take your emotions out of this. If you're anybody that don't know the truth or this is your first time hearing, you got to think about it the way the Most High looks at it. When you look at it in a greater scheme of things, the white man has the most adversarial spirit, adversary meaning Satan. He has the most adversarial satanic spirit out of any race of people on the face of the planet. That's a fact. That's a fact. And that can't be argued. Okay? So now, let's get more. So read that one more time from the top.
The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4.
Read.
In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them.
Now, that image of God is very important. All right, that image of God is very important. So we're going to come back to 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. But Christ is the image of the Father. What does that mean? Does that mean that Christ is literally is literally the Father's body on earth? No, it doesn't mean that. Image is going to go into something. We're going to see what that actually means. Christ being the image of the Father, meaning that he is the replication of the Father's attributes upon the world. Okay, that's what it means, right? When it says that my son is in my image, it doesn't mean that my son looks identical to me. It's talking about how my son's mannerisms are, how my son acts, how he behaves. When people say, you remind me of your father, right? They're talking about my son's attributes. He is in the image of me. All right. It does not mean you just have to look just like that person. So when it says that Christ is in the image of the Father, it's talking about the attributes of righteousness that Christ come in, and he comes in the name of his Father. That's going to be important when we get into the lesson. This is going to be a deep one, y'all. So that's going to be important when we get into the lesson. Shout out to my brother Marvelous Minds in the building. Shalom, King. How you feeling? I hope you're doing well. Shalom to Sister Aaliyah, and shalom to Sister or is that Malachi Holmes, Malachi, Shalom King, and Shalom Sister Jemiah. I hope y'all enjoyed the class tonight. So now let's go from there, all right? So the God of this world, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 16. So Christ does not rule this world. This present day world that we know it as, Christ does not rule this world, okay? We're going to find out who rules this world. Deuteronomy 32 and 16. When you got that, go ahead and read it.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 16.
Let's understand this. Read.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods.
So we provoke the Most High to jealousy with strange gods. Okay. Notice the verbiage here, with strange gods. Okay. You're going to find out that idol worship, all of the idol gods, from Molech to Beelzebub, all of these gods that the other nations worship, they are demonic figures. They are demons, okay? These are demons. These are demonic figures. And this is why the Most High says they provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. Read.
With abominations provoked they him to anger.
You see that? It says with abomination. So our people, we went off. Anytime we went off and we worshiped any of the gods of the heathen, we went off and we started to worship demonic figures. These things are demonic. So it's not as simple as just saying, oh, it's just an idol. It is an idol, but it has a demonic presence behind it. Okay, it has a demonic force behind it. Look at what verse 17 says. Read.
They sacrifice unto devils.
It says they sacrifice to devils. Okay, y'all see that? It says they sacrifice to devils. So every idol god has a demonic force behind it. Okay, watch this. Read.
They sacrifice unto devils, not to God.
And not to the Most High. Read.
To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up.
Read.
Whom your fathers feared not.
Okay, notice how the Most High calls these things gods or powers, and it also calls them devils, because these things are powers. Remember, the scripture says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities. And matter of fact, let's get that real quick. Let's get that real quick. Hold that. Oh, you got it? What where you at? Yeah, Ephesians. Yeah. Ephesians 6 and 12.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12.
Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Okay, hold that real quick. Hey, calling up. Can you do me a favor? Can you post the scriptures in the chat as we be our admin in the chat? Thank you. So read that again from the top, lot.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12.
Read.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
See, the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So the white man, right, aka Esau. But even if you don't want to choose to believe that he's Esau, one thing that you cannot deny, even though you can't deny that either, but one thing that you can deny is you cannot deny that the white man is not the chief sole ethnic group that is headed by the adversarial spirit of Satan. Okay, he's only one part of it. But see, me breaking this down is going to bring in a segue to breaking down the other books of Revelations. So it says we wrestle not against what, Reed?
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers.
Against powers. That word God simply just translate into the word powers, right? Elohim or Elohim, which just mean powers. So when the Most High God says that we sacrifice to devils and other gods, it's saying that we started to sacrifice to devils and other powers, demonic powers. Okay, that's what the Most High God is saying in Deuteronomy 32. Finish that.
but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world.
The rulers of the darkness of this world. This world is a place filled with darkness, okay? On a major scale and on a subatomic level. On a personal level, with your own personal mentality that you got to fight, but also, too, in a government level, okay? So the powers, they go from a small scale, dealing with individuals, and dealing with a race of people, dealing with wars. I know y'all know about all the wars that's going on. Remember, that stuff is not happening without something happening in the spirit. All right. It's kind of crazy that we talked about that last week, where I said when something happens in the government and wars and stuff like that, something happened in the spirit. All of this, the protests with our 10 tribe brothers and all of the stuff going on, this is all stuff that's happening and taking place in the spirit and having a earthly or a physical representation through the spirit. So Esau is just the physical representation or the embodiment of evil, right? The chief embodiment of evil, right? Because again, anybody could be possessed by evil, but he's the chief embodiment of evil. Okay, so let's go from there. Was that all of that?
Against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Okay, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So this battle is against spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 32 and 17. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 17.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 17.
Read.
They sacrificed unto devils, not to God. To gods whom they knew not. To new gods that came newly up.
Okay. So the whole battle of good and evil, is us choosing good, which is to honor the Father in heaven, or to choose the left-hand side, which is to sacrifice to devils and demons. That is the battle that we must face. This is serious. I know we hear it all the time, but you might be getting influenced by a spirit and you don't even realize it. So it's real. So it's not oh yeah, we know good and evil, the devil, Satan. All right. It's not, it's very pertinent that you stay conscious of what you're letting into your spirit, because the adversary is working through this physical embodiment that is spreading evil throughout the world, throughout the four corners of the earth. We're going to see that. Okay, let's go from there. Go to 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20. When you got it, you could go ahead and read it.
The book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice.
Okay, so it says that the things that the Gentiles sacrifice, read.
They sacrifice to devils.
All right, so the idol gods are devils. Okay, Molech, Beelzebub. Christ even talked about, and we're gonna save that. We're gonna go into that a little bit more. But Christ even spoke about Beelzebub, Mammon, right? These different things that idols worship, that idol worshipers worship. That these are actual demons. These are actually demonic figures. Okay, and we're gonna show you how America is tied to these demonic figures. Now, don't be blinded by America's niceness. Scripture says a gift destroys the heart. Well, this is the only place that you can practice freedom and you can do whatever, and y'all should be happy, because if you was in any other country, you would have been dead already for doing that street teaching y'all be doing. We're not blinded by niceness of America. We're not blinded by that. This entity or this country is still a country of evil. This is a demonic country. America is a demonic country. It doesn't matter if they give you money. It doesn't matter if they give you fast food. It doesn't matter if they give you entertainment. Matter of fact, that's the worst thing, because that's showing you America is a devil. It's a deceiver. America is deceiving you with its gifts. Okay? It's deceiving you with its gifts and it's blinding you. So we see straight through it and we look at the essence of this place. This is why we prophesy. This is why us as Israelites, we prophesy against this place. We prophesy against this place because this place is a demonic entity. Not the only place that is a demonic entity, But remember what I told you. Satan hangs in regions. All right, we went through that in the first lesson. Okay, we went through that in the first lesson. This is his chief region. Okay, this is his chief region. This is a chief hub. All right, just like Israel is supposed to be the chief hub of righteousness. This is the point. This is why we have to be in power, because when Israel's in power, righteousness is spread throughout the world. Okay, but now when Israel's not in power, wickedness is spread throughout the world. And I'm going to show you that the white man is the chief of wickedness. Matter of fact, let's do that now. Get the Apocrypha real quick. See if I got my. Let's get the Apocrypha real quick. Go to 1 Maccabees. Let me show you. Look at what the Most High said when the white man takes power. Okay. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and read verse 1 real quick.
The book of 1 Maccabees in your Apocrypha, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened. After that, Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim.
Okay, so this is Alexander the Greek. This is when he first came into power under the Greeks, 333 BC. Now, no one will argue that this is not a white man.
Right.
We know that this is a white man, right? So it says when he came into power, right? Now he ended up dying, and after he died, what happened? Somebody even worse came into power. Give me verse 10.
Verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been an hostage at Rome.
See, now Antiochus, which was that wicked root, all right, hold on one second. I'm spelling it wrong. Let me see. Give me 1 Maccabees 1 and read verse 9, actually. Yeah, read verse 9.
Verse 9.
Yeah.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
All right. So when Alexander died, he broke up his kingdom into what we call a tetrarch, which he broke his kingdom down into 4 generals, right? Read.
And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after many years.
Read.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
So we know that the world is still full of evil, but when the Greeks got into power, it says that evils were multiplied. So not only was it evil, so when Babylon was in power, yes, the world was filled with evil. Yes. When the Persians was in power, yes, the world was filled with evil. When all of the heathen nations are in power, then the world is ran and controlled by evil. We understand that. But when the white race got in power, when the Greeks got in power under Alexander the Greek, it says that evils were multiplied in the earth. And you can see that even with America, it has never been a nation as evil as this place. Show me any country, any ancient nation from ancient Egypt all the way to now. Name me a place that's as evil as America. We're not talking about, well, because America they don't stop us from doing, things that we like to do. That's the point. You could be whatever you want to be and do whatever you want to do. And that's why evils is multiplied in the world. And it was multiplied at this particular time with Antiochus, right? And when you read verse 10, it says, and there came out of them a wicked root. All right. And if you know anything about Antiochus Epiphanes, which is God manifest, he was a God manifest. He was a devil manifest. That's crazy, because what does Antiochus Epiphanes mean? God manifest. That's what it means. Antiochus was one of the generals that took over after Alexander the Greek died. He took over Greece and he controlled the province. He called himself God manifest. Well, yes, he was a devil manifest. He was a devil manifested. So Esau in his spirit, he tells you who he is. But we're going to get it. We're not going to take my words. We're going to take the Bible's words. So let's go from there. Give me So evils are multiplied whenever the white man has control over the world. Let's go to did we read 1 Corinthians 10 and 20? Yeah, we read that. Yep. Go to John 14 and 30. St. John chapter 14, verse 30. St. John chapter 14, verse 30. This is the Bible now. This is not Christianity. This is the Bible. Okay? This is not, oh, God just loves everybody and we're just fighting against. One thing that I find, this is the thing, and for real, and this is the thing that I find very, very kind of ironic with the Hebrew community and the Christian community. The Hebrew community hyper focuses on the spirit. Satan, the devil. Step on the devil's head, and you ask a Christian who is his enemy, he'll tell you the devil is my enemy. They don't understand, and before I say this, and the Israelite community hyper focuses on the physical aspect. The white man. It's the white man. Both of y'all are wrong. It's both. You have to focus on the spirit, Satan, and the physical incarnation of Satan through this nation. You can't have a false balance one to another. You have to know that the spirit of Satan is a real thing, and he's among us, and he's working through those children of disobedience, as the scriptures say. But you also have to understand that there's a physical entity of a nation of people and the physical embodiment of the devil, which is the Caucasian man. So you got to have an understanding of both. And then your understanding, and when you read the Bible, it can become clear. So read John 14 and 30.
The book of John, chapter 14, verse 30.
Read.
Hereafter, I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh.
Now, who's the prince of this world? We went over that in the first class. The prince of this world is Satan, the adversary. He is the prince of this world. He is the one that in Ephesians 6 and 6 that we are fighting against, the principalities in heavenly places. The prince of this world is the spirit of Satan. So yes, Esau is the physical embodiment, but the spirit of Satan is the real prince of this world. The spirit of Satan. Watch this. Read.
Verse 30. Hereafter, I will not talk much with you.
Okay, so Christ was like, hereafter, I will not talk much with you. Read.
For the prince of this world cometh and have nothing in me.
Says the prince of this world is coming and he has nothing in Christ, meaning no righteousness, no goodness. Only thing that he wants to do is seek and destroy. Okay, the prince of this world is the spirit. Okay, so let's go from there. Go to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2.
The book of Ephesians chapter 2, verse 2. Wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this world.
Okay, it says in times past we walked according to the course of this world. The course of this world, meaning this world has a frequency or has a motive, and if you follow the course of this world, then you walk in the ways of that prince. Who is that prince? All right. Now the crazy thing about this is that prince can deceive you even if you think you're not walking in his ways. Okay, so we have to be careful. But it says that the prince of this world, right? Read.
According to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air.
The prince of the power of the air. This is why the white man has control over the airwaves. Okay, this is a fact. We're going to go through all of this. The white man has control over the airwaves. He's the one that's telling you and showing and controlling what you listen to, That's all done by frequency. That's all done by airwaves. What you watch, your television, that's all done by frequency. That's all done by airwaves. He's going to program you to listen to secular music, watch evil shows. He's trying to get you with evil commercials. Everything is evil. The airwaves are evil. Not saying that you can't find no righteousness on the airwaves, but 9 times out of 10, the airwaves are full of evil because the prince of this world and the prince of the air controls the frequency of what you watch and what you see. Okay, this is some real stuff. That's why you have to be careful, family, because the chief adversary in the flesh, the embodiment of the chief adversary, which is the white man, is decoding evil into your mental by what you listen to and by what content you consume. Okay, this is why he's giving these young cats all these record deals to promote murder and destruction. The reason why he's giving these young cats these record deals is because he wants you to promote murder and destruction. And if you are a conscious rapper or any type of positive rapper, you're not gonna get enough stuff. You're not gonna get no stage time. You're not gonna get no stage time. You're not gonna get no radio play. He wants you. But matter of fact, is there any positive song on the radio today? I remember back in the day, at least you had the Fugees, right? At least you had Wyclef. At least you had something, Kanye a little bit, right? Back in the day, right? Now, well, I don't know. Lord knows what they got on the radio. I don't even think there's no positive music on the radio at all. I think everything is just saturated with fornication. So when you look at this, the white man is the chief. He's the one putting this out. He's not putting out goodness. All these record labels and these record execs and all of that, these Caucasian Jewish men, these white men, they are the chief entity of Satan, and they're only promoting evil. That's why Halle Berry can only get a Grammy for sex scene. Yeah, facts. Denzel can only get a Grammy for being a thug. You gotta take off your clothes in the movie and be butt naked. This is Satan. This is the devil. If it walk like a duck, it quack like a duck. You cannot ignore the signs. All right, butt breaking, all of that. You gotta. I remember. I forgot. If you an inspiring actor, you gotta have a gay role. You gotta put on a dress. All of these things are evil, and it's ran by the chief man, the white man. Am I wrong? Do black people own Hollywood? No, we don't. Now, the reason why I'm saying Hollywood is because Hollywood is just as bad as a nuke. Hollywood is just as bad as a nuke because it's keeping you in a spiritual slumber of wickedness. That mark of the beast. We're going to talk about that. Wait. We got Revelations. We're going to get through this. Show y'all what we're going to talk about. All right. That mark of the beast is not a chip. Let me put that out there. It's not a chip. But by the end of this, y'all going to see that. Let's go from there. Let's get go to Revelations now. Let's get into the nitty-gritty now. So we read Ephesians 2:2 already, right? Go to Revelations 13 now. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty now. Okay. Now, before we read Revelations 13, let me pull this real quick. Before we read Revelations 13, all right? We're about to get into it, family. Okay. Let's get Proverbs. Let's get Proverbs 25:2. Proverbs 25:2. Watch this. So we're going to hold Revelations 13 real quick. Let's get Proverbs 25:2. Go ahead when you got it.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 2. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing.
It is the glory of God to conceal a thing. So the Most High will hide things because he wants you to search for it. Okay? So it's the glory of God to conceal a thing. Read.
But the honor of kings.
But the honor of kings, read.
Is to search out a matter.
The Bible, a lot of times, the Bible and the deep mysteries and the prophecies is not going to just be right in your face for you to understand easily. There are some Bible, and this is what I will say. I will say if this is above your pay grade, focus on the things that's important, the laws of God and the spirit of God, which is charity, patience, meekness, Galatians chapter 5, and the law. If you want to know how you can solidify yourself in this walk, it's two things that you focus on. You focus on the laws of God and you focus on the fruits of the Spirit, and read that in Galatians 5. Galatians 5 and Leviticus chapter 20. Galatians 5 and Leviticus 20. You focus on those two chapters, your walk is pretty much solid, because the Galatians 5 is dealing with the spiritual aspect, and Leviticus 20 is dealing with the laws that govern you in your physical realm, right? Those two things can help your walk, and to be honest, you don't really need to know too much after that. Fear God and keep his commandments. That's the best thing. But for those like myself, like Lob, like my brother Karanap, like the people that's on that are the teachers, the prophets that are going to dissect the word, that are going to open up these mysteries, because the Most High has those reserved, that reserved for certain people too. It says that we have the honor of kings, and the honor of kings is to search out a matter. So these things have to be spiritually discerned. A lot of times these things are not going to just jump right at you. You got to pray and you got to fast for these things. And I thank the Lord for giving me good teachers, because I have teachers as well. I have elders. And also I thank the Lord for giving me the spirit of wisdom to be able to see these things clearly. Okay, so read that one more time from the top.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 2.
Read.
It is the glory of God to conceal a thing.
All praises, my brother, sons of thunder. All praises, Pelaya. All praises to you, brothers. All right. So it's a glory of the Lord to conceal a thing. Read.
But the honor of kings is to search out a matter.
But the honor of kings is to search out a matter. So tonight we're going to search out this matter. Why do we say the white man is the devil? We're going to search out this matter. Right? We're going to search this out now. Let's get Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. Let's search out this matter. Now, before we read this, I want you guys to understand, Revelations is not a singular book. All right? It's not singular in its understanding. Or not singular, Salaki. It's not linear. All right? Linear meaning it's not, you read it like a regular book from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 20. You can read it like that, but Revelations is not linear. It jumps from prophecy to prophecy. All right? So you can read Revelation chapter 9, but then you can read Revelation 13, and those events is all mixed up. The events are not linear, right? Revelations is mixed up. The prophecy is mixed up. You might read about 2 different time periods in one chapter, and then it might reiterate the same thing it reiterated in one chapter in a different way. So Revelations is not a linear book, meaning you don't read it. Okay, well, you got to read it from chapter to chapter. Nah, it bounces, and each chapter is dealing with something different in its totality. So that's why we're starting with Revelation chapter 13 first, because Revelation chapter 13 tells you what evil entities we're dealing with. So once we identify what evil entities we're dealing with, then we can go into Revelations 9, then we can go into Revelations 10, but it's not linear. So we're going to be going into the book of Revelations, but we're not going to deal with it in a linear fashion, because it's not written linear. Okay? So you have to understand that. All right? So read verse 1 now.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1.
Read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Read.
And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Okay, so it says, and I seen a beast rise up, okay, and it had 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so let's get this real quick in the book of Daniel. Get Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. So we got to understand that this is not a literal beast. Okay, this is not a literal beast. Okay. Okay, this is not a literal beast. This is a prophecy, and it's a vision. It's going to show you something. So this particular thing is not a literal beast. So let's read that in Daniel chapter 7, verse 7. So we can see real quick who this dragon is. Some of us might know who this dragon is. We touched on it, but we're going to touch on it a little deeper today. We touched on it last week, but we're going to touch on it a little deeper. Go ahead.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7.
Read.
After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly.
And
it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns.
Hold on. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. That was 7:7. I got you. Hold on. Let me see. Actually, read Daniel 7:17. Salakia. 7:17. Okay. You said what? It was a scoffer. Oh, a scoffer. Okay, come. Daniel chapter 7:17.
Book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 17.
Read.
These great beasts, which are four kings, which shall arise out of the earth.
All right. So Daniel and John the Revelator, they both had similar visions dealing with beasts. Now, Daniel lets you know that these beasts that we're seeing, they are kings. Okay. So that this is not a literal beast. The Bible does have literal beasts though in it, Leviathan and so on and so forth, which we're gonna talk about that too at a later class. But when you see this is not a literal beast, right? So Daniel was letting you know that these beasts, whenever you see this, right, a vision that's concerning these beasts in this matter, these beasts are not literal. These beasts are kings, are powers of the earth. Read verse 24. Go to verse 24.
Verse 24. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
Okay, and when you see the horns, so anytime you see, so how do we know this? Anytime you see a beast in the horns, it's always dealing with kingdoms and kingship and rulers and powers. So this is dealing with nations. Okay, finish that off.
And another shall, Salaki, verse 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
Read.
And another shall rise after them.
Read.
And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings.
Okay, so I'm just showing you that the horns, whenever you see this beast with horns, it represents kings. And whenever you see this beast, it also represents kings as well. All right. So nations, we're dealing with nations. So now let's go back to Revelation chapter 13. Okay. And read verse 1 again.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1.
Read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Now, when you read Revelation chapter 12, hold that in verse 1 real quick. This beast, right, with the 7 heads and the 10 horns, remember, guys, what did I tell you? Right? I told you that it's an honor for kings to search out things. And I told you that Esau is a physical representation of this beast. So this beast is double, is twofold. Remember, let's get this in Job real quick. Let me get Job. Hold on, because I need everybody to understand this just in case they don't know. Get Job 11 and 5 real quick. All right? Get Job chapter 11, verse 5. Job chapter 11, verse 5. And read 5 and 6. Okay? This is important to understand.
Book of Job, chapter 11, verse 5.
Read.
But oh, that God would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he will show thee the secrets of wisdom.
All right.
That they are double to that which is. Know therefore that God exacteth of thee less than thy iniquity deserveth.
That's it. So the secrets of wisdom are double. So when you going back to Revelation 13 and you see this beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, yes, it represents Esau. All the Israelites know that. The Israelites know that. Yeah, that's Esau. And we're gonna show you that it is Esau. It is indeed Esau. And watch this. Even scholars, even biblical scholars, all biblical scholars will let you know that this is the Caucasian man. Okay, all biblical scholars will let you know that this is the Caucasian man. But remember, the secrets of wisdom are double. So this is not just a physical representation. This is also the spirit, devil, Satan as well. So this beast is 2 people. There are 2 entities. This dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns is 2 entities. It's the spirit of Satan, and it's also the physical representation of Satan through a man, which is the Caucasian man. Let's prove that. Go to Revelations and read verse 9, 12 and 9. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. I'm going to show you. So whenever you see this devil with 10 horns and 7 heads, Sometimes it's jumping in and out. Sometimes it's talking about the physical representation of himself, the image. Remember we said that image? Remember Christ said, I come in the image of my Father? Remember, this is all the left hand. So you know how Christ comes in the image of his Father? This is the left hand side of that. Esau comes in the image of his father, right? Which is the spirit Satan. Read verse 9.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 9.
Read.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil.
That old serpent. Now we know that old serpent called the devil. Who's that old serpent? That old serpent is that snake that was in the garden. That spirit. But it also translates to Esau too. So when you see this dragon, it's two entities. This dragon is the physical manifestation of Satan, which is the white man, and it's also the spiritual, which is Satan himself. Okay, finish verse 9.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Okay, so now let's go back to Revelation chapter 13. So whenever you see that dragon, now, if you go to any scholar will let you know that the dragon that is in Revelation chapter 12 is dealing with the Roman Empire. Okay, it's dealing with the Roman Empire, specifically the Roman Empire. Now, I know, brothers, we were taught that the seven heads were like, Greece, Rome, so on and so forth. And I'm gonna show y'all. I personally think from my studies, and it doesn't matter even if you want to put Greece in there, because Greece is still a province of Rome. Greece is still a province of Rome. But this dragon is literally dealing with the Roman Empire. Okay, in a nation sense. Okay, I'm gonna show you. So when you look at the seven heads, right, which are the seven superpowers, right? They interchange, right? They interchange. This is all approximate. They all interchange. You got the seven heads, right, which represent France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, the United Kingdom, and not the United States. The United States, we're going to find out who they are. But France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Greece. Okay, these are the superpowers, if you will, of that area of Europe. Okay, the European area, which this is that dragon. How do we know that this dragon? In a nation sense or in a carnal sense is the Roman Empire, or is the European province, that area over there, dealing with the Romans? We know this because when you read Revelation chapter 12, go back to Revelation chapter 12 and read verse 3. Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. We're going to show you guys that this dragon is indeed Rome. Okay? And it cannot be argued. Read.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 3.
Read.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Read verse 2.
Verse 2. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth.
Read.
And pain to be delivered.
All right. So who is this child? When you read verse 1, it's talking about this woman. This woman, of course, in verse 1 is Israel. And this child we know is Christ. So in verse 1 and 2 is dealing with Israel and is dealing with Christ. Now it's a child that is about to be born. And let's get that real quick. Actually, read verse 1. Let's go ahead and break it down. Read verse 1.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 1.
Read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
Read.
A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
All right. How do we know that this is dealing with Israel? Because it literally says a crown of her head of 12 stars. But if that's not enough, let's get some prophecy that deals with it. Go to Genesis chapter 37, verse 9. Before you get that, give me Jeremiah 6 and 2. Give me Jeremiah 6 and 2. Let's show you that this woman is Israel. Okay, this woman in Revelation chapter 12 is Israel. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 2. Read that.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, verse 2.
Read.
I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
Okay, so the Most High, in a allegory sense, likens the nation of Israel into a delicate and comely woman. So how do we know that this Revelation 12, verse 1, this woman is Israel? Because it says in Jeremiah 6 and 2 that the Most High God likens Israel to a delicate and beautiful, comely woman, right? You can read that all throughout the scriptures, that the Most High looks at Israel as his bride, all right? So that's that woman. Now, what does it mean by the 12 stars and the moon and the sun under its feet? Go to Genesis chapter 37, verse 9.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37, verse 9.
Read.
And he dreamed yet another dream.
Okay.
And told it his brethren and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
So Joseph had a dream, and he said, I had a dream that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. Now, why did he say 11 stars? Because Joseph is a part of that 12 tribes, right? So he's one of the stars. This is how you gotta dissect the Bible. This is the wisdom this is how you dissect the Bible. The Bible is a clue. It's a book full of clues. It's a puzzle, I should say. So you got to dissect the Bible as a puzzle. So Joseph had a dream. He said the 11 stars and the sun and the moon came and bowed down to me. What does this dream mean? Read.
Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him and said unto him,
Read.
What is this dream that thou hast dreamed?
Read.
Shall I and thy mother and thy brethren indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
So who's the son? Who's the son? The son would be Israel. Israel is the son that is going to make obeisance, right, to Joseph. Who is the moon? The moon will represent his mother, just dealing with his nativity being from his father Israel. And the 11 stars are his brothers. And that prophecy eventually came true in Egypt, right? But you see how the wisdom is double. It doesn't just mean that. It also is showing you who this woman is in Revelation chapter 12, verse 1. So let's go back to Revelation chapter 12, verse 1.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 1.
Read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven.
Read.
A woman clothed with the sun.
There we go. Read.
And the moon under her feet.
Read.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
So this is Israel. Okay. Now read verse 2.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered.
All right. So now it says that in pain to be delivered, she had a child that she wanted to deliver, in pain to be delivered. What does this mean? This is dealing with the birth of Christ. In pain to be delivered, meaning that when Christ was born, what did Herod set out to do? Let's go to Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. Read that when you got it. We rolling today. We rolling. We got some mysteries to unlock. Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now, all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel.
Okay, so this is now Christ. Now, what does it mean in pain to be delivered, right? Let's go to chapter 2 and read verse 3.
The book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 3. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered...
it says when Herod heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him, in pain to be delivered. So when Herod heard this, he was troubled. Why was all Jerusalem troubled? Because what did Herod do? Herod killed the firstborn. He started killing the kids because he wanted to kill Christ at his birth. That's why Israel was pained to be delivered. And Herod was a false or a vassal king. Herod will be considered a vassal king in Jerusalem that was set up by the Roman Empire. This is how you know that this dragon in Revelation chapter 12 is the Roman Empire, because the Roman Empire is the one that set up Herod to be a vassal king to control Jerusalem. Herod, being under authority of the Roman Empire, did not want his rulership tainted, so he wanted to kill Christ. Read on.
Verse 4. When he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the are not the least among the princes of Judah.
So Herod wanted to find the child. Read verse 16.
Verse 16.
Read.
Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men,
So, but the wise man lied to Herod. They didn't let him know where the child was. Read.
Was exceeding wroth.
Read.
And sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem.
Read.
And in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men.
So there you go. Revelation chapter 12, verse 2. It says that Israel was pregnant with this child and in pain to be delivered. So when Christ was born, there was great pain in Israel because Herod, which you're going to see, let's go to verse 3. Revelation chapter 12, verse 3. Read.
Revelation chapter 12 and 3.
Read.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon.
Here it is, dragon. Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads.
Read.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
Read.
And did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman.
Why did it say, and his tail drew the third part of the stars from heaven? Because how many tribes was in Israel at this time that make up the southern kingdom? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay. So this is what it means when it says that the three, he drew down the 3, because where were the other stars at? They were already scattered. Okay. So Herod was primarily dealing with Levi, Benjamin, and Judah. Okay. So this was the third, and the Romans in general. Okay, read.
Salakia, verse 4. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven.
Read.
And did cast them to the earth.
Read.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered.
Read.
For to devour her child as soon as it was born.
And what did Herod want to do under the authority of the Roman Empire? He wanted to kill Christ. Y'all see that?
Right. And he was so desperate to kill Christ. He said, well, if the wise man ain't going to tell me where this man is at, I'm about to kill all the children in Bethlehem, because according to the prophecy, that's where he got to be. Yep. So he was desperate. That's why it say travaileth, and it was pain to be delivered. Yep. But yeah, no, that's a good point.
And pain to be delivered.
Pain to be delivered.
See what I'm saying? One thing you can't do is you can't fight against prophecy. You can't make this fit no other race of people. So off top, who is this dragon working through? I got my brother in here. He laughed, but he like, man, that's crazy. Yeah, because off top, this dragon is already working through the Caucasian race, through the Roman Empire. Case closed right there, but it even get deeper. It gets deeper. So you see that this dragon is the Roman Empire. 7 heads and 10 horns. When you get into the 10 horns is the ECC. The European Economic Communities. Look it up. Okay. Let me go ahead and show y'all this. Right. They interchange. So the EEC, Belgium, Portugal, Sweden, Italy, Denmark, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Belgium, France. Okay. This is the EEC, the European Economic Communities, which is where the provinces, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Don't worry, we about to break down Revelations 13. All right. So the European Economic Communities. So you got Luxembourg, Netherlands, West Germany, Italy, France, Spain, Portugal. Okay. Let's go here real quick. Let me see. All right, here they are right here. Okay. So all these families, all right. Treaties of Rome, Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, West Germany, United Kingdom, Denmark, Ireland, Greece, Portugal, Spain, all right, East Germany, right? So look up the EEC and you'll see, right, that the Roman Empire or the European economic, or Europe itself was divvied up, okay, into the European Economic Communities, okay? Now, the 7 superpowers of Europe would be France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Greece, right? Which Greece is also a part of Rome. It's a Roman province, and it's also a part of Europe. Okay, so when you look at this beast specifically, when you're looking at it in a nationality stance, it is the European countries. This beast represents the European countries. Okay, we see that in prophecy because Herod has to be a part of this beast because he's the one that wanted to devour the child Christ. And Herod was under the Roman authority. So this dragon is Rome. No one will argue that. Caucasian race. Okay, so off top, the Romans are, and America, which we're going to get into, is an extension of Rome. Okay, so now let's go ahead and read Revelations 13:1. Put sevens in the chat if y'all following me. I want to make sure everybody is following me. Put sevens in the chat. Put sevens in the chat if you understand. I want to make sure everybody's following me. I don't want to go over everybody's head. Put sevens in the chat. All right. Sevens in the chat if you understand. Okay, all praises. All praises. All praises. All praises. Okay, good. Good. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Go to Revelation chapter 13 and let's read verse 1 again. Read.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1.
Read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
Read.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
All right, we already went over that. The 7 heads, which are the 7 superpowers of Europe, Germany, France, Italy, Russia, Spain, United Kingdom, Greece, right? 10 horns, which we already went over that. The heads and the horns represent kingdoms and powers. The 10 horns were the EEC, the European Economic Communities. Read.
And upon his horns, 10 crowns.
All right, read.
And upon his heads, the name of blasphemy.
Okay, and the name of blasphemy. All right, the names of blasphemy. Now, this is important. We're going to get why this is important, okay? Because it says the name of blasphemy. We're going to touch on that a little bit through the lesson. Read verse 3. Read verse 2.
Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Read.
And his feet.
So the beast was like unto a leopard. Read.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
So this beast was strategic, was calculated like a leopard, was fierce like a leopard. Y'all know what a leopard is? Like a black panther or a leopard. They're fierce, right? So this beast was fierce like a leopard. When you look at Rome in its heyday, Rome was a fierce nation. Rome was a fierce nation. And then even when you get outside of Rome, when you look at the Europeans, they are fierce nations, right? The European nations are fierce nations. Great Britain was a fierce nation, right? We're going to prove all this historically. And then it says feet, or the feet of a bear. Why does it say the feet was the feet of a bear? Because it stood strong. Rome stood strong. Not only was it a fierce nation, but it stood strong. Read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
And a mouth of a lion. We're going to see what that means. Speaking proudly. We're going to talk about that. Speaking proudly. Speaking strongly, proudly. We're going to talk about all this, right? The mouth of a lion, meaning speaking blasphemy, right? Read.
And the dragon gave him his power.
Now, this is important because not only did we just explain the dragon being the white man, the puzzle was being pieced up together for you. The dragon gave the beast its power, but wait, we just read the dragon as the beast because this letting you know that Satan, the spiritual entity, gave this nation his power. Okay? Remember, I told you, the dragon is 2 entities. It is the Caucasian man, right? Or it is Rome, right? And it is a spiritual entity of Satan. So this entity was given his power by who? Read.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
All right. So the dragon gave this beast his power and his seat and his authority. Okay, mind you, who did the white man get his power from? Let's go from there. Hold that thought. Go to Luke chapter 4, verse 1. This is why we say the white man is the devil. He is the image of the devil. Just like Christ is the image of God. It's going to get even more crazy when we get down into the chapter. Watch this. Read that in Luke chapter 4.
The book of Luke chapter 4, verse 1.
Read.
And Yahushua, being full of the Holy Ghost, returned from Jordan and was led by the Spirit into the wilderness, being 40 days tempted of the devil. And in those days he did eat nothing. And when they were ended, he afterward hungered.
Read.
And the devil said unto him, If thou be the Son of God, command this stone that it be made bread.
You see that? So it says, if thou be the Son of God, command these stone that it may be made bread. So this is the spirit of Satan coming to tempt Christ. But I want to get straight to the point. Go to verse 6. Yep. Read verse 6.
Verse 6. And the devil.
Now we know that this is not a physical representation of the white man. We know that this is in the spirit. Okay. So the spirit of Satan attempted to give the power that he gave the white man to Christ, because he was attempting to get Christ to reject his father. The white man does not have his power unless the devil gives it to him. The white man is the puppet. The puppet master is Satan. Watch what Satan tells Christ. Read.
And the devil said unto him, all this power will I give thee.
Read.
And the glory of them.
Read.
For that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will give it.
So Satan, or the devil, was like, whoever I want to give this power to, I have the authority to give it to. Right? Read verse 7.
Verse 7. And if thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine.
The only thing you have to do is worship me, because if I give you power and you worship me, what is the rest of the world who's the rest of the world going to worship? The devil, Satan. The world is given into the hands of the wicked. Understand? So Satan is telling Christ, I'll give you this power. Just worship me. Read.
Verse 8. And Yahushua answered and said unto him, Get thee behind me, Satan.
But Christ rejected him. Just like we have to reject him in this world. Get behind me, Satan. Read.
For it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
So Christ rejected Satan, but Esau didn't. Christ rejected Satan, but Esau didn't. Esau said, bet. Crazy, ain't it? Esau said, bet. But let's see that this was prophecy though. Cold, huh, fellas? Esau said, bet. Give me all that. Go to Genesis real quick. I believe 39. This is all prophecy though. Um, 39. Not 39. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. Let me see. I think it's 36.
Right. No, that's a real good point, man, because now you can understand why Esau has so much power today.
27. So
right. He has so much power because Satan gave him the power.
Yep.
So when you have the question of, well, if we're the greatest people upon the face of the earth, how will we overcome by the most basest man upon the face of the earth? Is because Satan gave him an authority. If you wonder, well, okay, when you look at the white man, you say, well, the white man is very fragile. He don't seem as somebody you'll be intimidated by, but he has dominion where the world is intimidated by him.
Mm.
Why? Because Satan gave him that authority and that power. That's what it is. It's a spiritual thing. You don't fear the white man when you look at him in the face. You think, oh, this white man ain't gonna do nothing to me. But it's the spirit behind him that you fear. Right? You fear the control that he has. You fear the authority that he has. So y'all make sure y'all taking notes on this because it's powerful.
And that's a good point, because when you like look at like all of these Israelite men or these black men that went on these slave ships and they all buff and all of that, and it's like these 5 puny little scrawny like Edomite men, and it's like, how did they even manage to take Israel out? It was all the spiritual thing. But Esau made a covenant with the devil. So remember what I said to you guys. We're not talking about individuality. Well, no, my auntie is white and she never made a covenant with the devil. We're talking about a spiritual. The spirit of these people are in league with Satan. I'm going to show you that, okay? The spirit of these people are in league with Satan. Now, this is all prophesied. Let's go to Genesis chapter 27, actually, family. 27 and read verse 34.
The book of Genesis, chapter 27, verse 34.
Read.
And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry.
So now we know Jacob ended up getting the blessing. Right? Read.
And said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, thy brother came with subtlety and have taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob?
Read.
For he has supplicated me.
Supplanted.
Slakia, for he has supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he have taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?
So I'm going to show you guys exactly when Esau made league with the devil. This is crazy. Esau made league with the devil in Genesis chapter 27. Y'all understand what we're reading? Esau made league with the devil in Genesis chapter 7. How did Esau make league with the devil in Genesis chapter 7? Because he rejected God by selling his birthright. Y'all following me? He rejected God by selling his birthright. Meaning if he rejects God, who's next in line for him? So he rejected God by, don't look at because it was Abraham talking to them. No, this was the enemy. He rejected God by getting rid of his birthright, and in doing so rejected the blessing, but then asked his father, I still want a blessing, but look at what his blessing is contingent on. This is how you know. He rejected God. Did Christ reject God when Satan came and tempted him? Satan came and tempted Esau with that venison. But this was all a part of God's plan because he wanted to get a birthright to Jacob, because a prophecy said that the older shall serve the younger. So this was still all God. Remember, Satan, the spirit, still was under control of the father. So this was still all of the father's plan. But the point is, Esau rejected God, sold his birthright, and then what happened? Watch this. Read.
Verse 37. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants.
I'm going to show you that this blessing is from the devil himself. Read.
And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?
Read.
And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept.
Watch this, y'all. Watch. Read.
And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him,
read.
Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth.
Okay, read.
And of the dew of heaven from above.
So one day you're gonna have the best lands of the earth. Watch this. Read.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
By war, so automatically by war and by chaos, this man is going to live. So a part of his birthright is that he's going to live by war, by chaos. Watch this. Read.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
Read.
And shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
And his blessing is that one day he's going to get revenge of his brother, an adversary. This day Esau became an adversary to Jacob. What does Satan mean? Adversary. Esau became an adversary to Jacob this day because it says one day you're going to break the yoke of your brother off your neck. You're going to become an adversary to him. But then, watch this. His birthright is contingent upon hate for his brother. What does the Bible say about hating your neighbor? This is Satan's covenant. Because read the next verse.
And Esau hated Jacob. And Esau hated Jacob.
His birthright or his blessing that he received, the covenant that he made with the devil was that, hey, one day you're going to take revenge of your brother and you're going to destroy him with a sword. This is when Esau made league with the devil right here. So what am I saying? When you read this story, look deeper. Remember, wisdom is double. He rejected God. I'm gonna show y'all. Look,
that's crazy. How is revenge a blessing?
That's his blessing,
right?
Look, spell profane real quick. How you spell? Yeah. Yep. Nah, this I want that in Hebrews 12. Don't let me lie. Hey, look, let the scriptures tell you. Hebrews 12 and 16. I hope y'all following me. Hebrews 12 and you said what? Okay, got it. Oh, it's ripped out? Yeah. Okay, so like you want me to read it? I got it. Okay, you got it? Okay, come on. We're gonna wait till my brother get it. Go ahead.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 12, verse 16.
Read.
Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau.
Who's more of a fornicator and profane person than Esau? Read.
Who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
He rejected God, and when you reject God, who do you accept? Satan. This is where he sold his soul. He sold his soul. If you want to know where and when he sold his soul, Genesis 27. He sold his soul when he rejected the birthright, and he made a league with the devil, the spirit, by vowing revenge on his brother to kill him with a sword one day. But the thing is, if Jacob is with God, and you become an enemy of Jacob, who do you become an enemy of? God, because God is with Jacob. And Esau now is in league with Satan. Do y'all feel that? Do y'all see that? So Genesis chapter 27, verse 40 and 41, Esau sold his soul to the devil. Watch what it says. Read verse 41 again. 27? Yeah, Genesis 27 and 41.
The book of Genesis chapter 27, verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand.
This is when he sold his soul. Read.
Then will I slay my brother Jacob.
See, this is not talking about he literally, I mean, even though they do Esau does try to conjure up spirits and stuff like that too. But Esau didn't literally conjure up the devil and shake his hand and say, Satan, I agree with you. No, this took part in his heart. I'm going to show y'all that, because where did this happen? Let's go to Genesis chapter 1 or Genesis chapter 3. Look, I'm going to show y'all. Actually 4. Genesis chapter 4 and read verse 5.
The book of Genesis chapter 4, verse 5. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect.
Read.
And Cain was very wroth.
Read.
And his countenance fell.
See that? Read.
And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted?
Read.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door.
So it doesn't mean that you got to go and conjure up a devil. It's in your heart. He made a league with Satan in his heart that day in Genesis chapter 27, like Cain did. Because God said, look, if you don't do well, what? Read.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire.
Meaning sin, the devil, Satan, will rule over you in your heart. That's how. You sell your soul. That's how Esau sold his soul. He sold his soul because of the hatred he felt for his brother, and now he's become a profane person. Do y'all see that? Y'all see that? So this is how he sold his soul. Esau sold his soul in Genesis chapter 27 when he gave his heart to the desire of sin, to kill his brother, just like Cain did. Watch that. Finish that off.
Verse 8. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother, and it came to pass.
That's it. And he killed his brother. So we can see that same thing happening with Esau. So when did he sell his soul? In Genesis 27. Sold his soul. Now, he's been an agent of the devil ever since. And that's why Hebrews 12:16 says, lest there be any profane person like Esau. Right? He is fully engaged in his heart with the devil. That's when he sold his soul. Let's go from there. Let's go back to Genesis chapter 13, Revelation chapter 13. This is hold y'all seats. We just getting started. So we see when he sold his soul. So read verse 2 again.
The book of Revelation chapter 13 verse 2.
Read.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet was as the feet of a bear.
Read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Read.
And the dragon gave him his power.
When did the dragon give the white man, or aka Esau, his power? He gave Esau his power when he rejected the birthright. And then after he rejected the birthright, it's crazy because he still could have repented. He still could have said, you know what, I messed up. He made a league with the devil by saying, my birthright, or not my birthright, my blessing is contingent upon killing my brother. My blessing is contingent upon killing my brother. So I only will get dominion over the world and the fatness and the dew of the heavens when I kill my brother and I break the yoke of his power off my neck. And the only way he can break the yoke of Israel off of his neck is when we fall and Esau rises to power and wages war against Jacob. All right. This is why you got to read the book of Obadiah. So he sold his soul in Genesis, right? And he gave Satan, the spirit, gave him his power, or made that pact. He probably didn't give him the power at that time, but he made the deal with him right there. The deal was, don't worry, one day you're going to have the power and you're going to get revenge on your brother and you're going to slay your brother too. All right. Go to Obadiah real quick. Obadiah. And get Obadiah chapter 10. Verse 10.
The book of Obadiah chapter 1 verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob shall Salakia. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame.
Read verse 9. Salakia.
Verse 9. And thy mighty men, O Timon, shall be dismayed, to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Read.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
So this is what I always ask people. Well, when did Esau, biblically and historically, when did Esau ever control the whole world? That's a great question. When did Esau? You got to ask her. The white man is not Esau. Okay, well, let me ask you this question. When did Esau ever control the entire world? Because remember, Genesis 27, that was a prophecy that has to happen. It says that one day Esau is going to control the entire world and the fatness of the land. Show me scripturally or historically when Esau controlled the world, like Babylon or like Egypt. I'll wait. If he's not the white man, then you'll see. See? It happened starting with the Greeks. And we're reading about that. Somebody said Rome. Absolutely, Don, you're right. It started with the Greeks and it's going to go into Rome, right? It started with the Greeks and it's going to go into Rome. All right, so now let's go back to Revelation 13. This is heavy meat tonight, family. Sometimes we got to give y'all some meat. Sometimes we got to give y'all some meat. All right. So read 2 again.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 2.
Read.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Read.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Okay, so the dragon gave the beast his power. Read verse 3.
And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
Read.
And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast.
So what does it mean when it says, I seen his head was wounded? What does that mean? I seen his head and it was wounded. That's going into the fall. Does anybody know what's the politically correct name of the fall of Rome? What was that period called? The Dark Ages. The Dark Ages. When Esau was in the Dark Ages for a period of time. Let's look it up. Okay. The Dark Ages. When did Rome fall? When Rome fell, the European world went into a period of Dark Ages. It says the Dark Ages is a term often used to describe the early Middle Ages in Western Europe, specifically a period from the late 5th to the 10th centuries following the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The wound. The beast. Read verse 3 again.
Verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast.
And when was the deadly wound healed? Come on, Lyle, you been studying? The Renaissance. Okay. So the Dark Ages was a period when the European powers, remember Rome is Europe, when the European powers were in what we call a dark age. The Renaissance was a transformative period in European history characterized by a rebirth of classical art. So it's also called AKA a rebirth. Renaissance goes into the rebirth. This was the reemergence of the European powers. Literature and philosophy, particularly from ancient Greece and Rome following the Middle Ages, okay? It spanned roughly from the 14th to the 17th century, beginning in Italy and spreading across Europe. The Renaissance saw significant advancements in various fields, including art, science, and intellectual thought, making a transition toward modernity, okay? So the Renaissance, so the Dark Ages was when that wound was brought upon that beast, and then the Renaissance is when it was a reemergence. Now, remember, it says that in chapter 13, verse 1, it says the head's the name of blasphemy. Remember, we can't forget that. What came with the Renaissance? Before I finish it, iconoclast. Iconoclast, a person who attacks cherished beliefs or institutions. This is when you get the whitewashing of Christ. Follow me, y'all. Dark Ages, the wound. Renaissance, the reemergence. Iconoclast, the beginning of blasphemy. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that the Roman Empire actually established blasphemy by doing what? The Council of Nicaea, the Council of Trent, adding in paganism into Christianity. Sunday law, making Sunday the national day of worship. This is what Rome did. Under Emperor Constantine, this is what Rome did. Rome established paganism in Christianity. So everybody that keeps modernized Christianity today is just celebrating Roman paganism. Christmas, Easter, all of that was included as a practice and customs, that needed to be included in Christianity. And original Christianity, which were what our name comes from, the Believers of the Way, did not keep Christmas, did not keep Easter. All of that stuff was inserted. That is the blasphemy. That is the blasphemy. What does blasphemy mean? The Roman Empire did all of this. The Bible is cold. Look. Let's see what blasphemy means. The act or offense of speaking sacrilegiously about God or sacred things, profane talk. How did they put blasphemy with the Bible? Because they told you Christmas now is Christ's birthday. They told you Easter is what we need to celebrate. They told you Sunday and not the Sabbath is where you need to worship, which is the Sunday, right? They gave you depictions in afterwards in iconoclasm. They changed Christ and made his image a Caucasian image. So this beast that is speaking blasphemy is them inserting sacrilegious viewpoints with the religion of Christianity and disguising it as Christ. Give me Matthew chapter 24:24. Is everybody following me? This is this beast. This is this beast. Read that.
The book of Matthew chapter 24 verse 24.
Read.
For there shall arise false Christs.
See, read.
And false prophets.
And
shall show great signs and wonders.
Christ is directly talking about Revelation 13, this beast, because in Revelation chapter 13, it said the same thing. And I saw one of the heads of it as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. And the beast speaks blasphemy. Okay? So this is what this beast is doing, right? So now read verse, and so the wound is the dark ages in verse 3. The wound being healed is the Renaissance, and they all wondered after the beast is also the Renaissance and iconoclasm, because they all wondered after the beast. Let me show you who they wondered after, and they still wondered after. They still all wonder. Watch this, y'all. They still all wonder. Let me share my screen. They still all wonder after the beast. Okay? This is all a part of the beast propaganda. False Christ. Understand? It's crazy, right? This is what they doing. So now, read verse 4.
Verse 4. And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him?
And it says, and they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast. Because if you worship the beast in his system, you automatically worship the dragon. Just like if you reverence Christ, you automatically worship the Father.
Right.
It's the same thing, just on the left-hand side. So at this particular time, with the reemergence of, we can't forget, the Roman Catholic Church.
Right.
Okay? The Roman Catholic Church would kill anybody that did not teach what they taught. The Roman Catholic Church slaughtered thousands of people. What's the word I'm looking for? Where they slaughtered the Native Americans. I cannot think of the word. Let me see. It's genocide. It's genocide, but it's not the massacre. Let me see. Not Wounded Knee. I cannot think about it. I cannot think about when the Roman. I cannot think of the name.
You talking about the when it was exiled?
No, not when it's I cannot think of the historical reference.
Okay,
it's gonna come to me and I'm gonna be so mad. But it's when they persecuted everybody that had Bibles and stuff like that. I cannot think of the name. I cannot think of that name. But when the Roman Catholic Church was going throughout and it was not the Holocaust, nah. Let me see. Let me see. It's called let me see. Not the yeah, I can't think of the historical name when the Catholic Church was like killing not even just the Native Americans though, but it's like when they sent the Jesuit priests. I cannot think of the name, but y'all get what I'm saying though. I can't think of the name. I can't. It's gonna come back to me though. It's gonna come back to me. Dang, I'm so mad I can't think of the name. But nonetheless, the Roman Catholic Church persecuted everybody and was the leading authority. Okay, the Roman Catholic Church was like the leading authority. Okay, so it says everybody wondered after the beast, and at this time you go into like all the European countries, like Europe, like Great Britain and so on and so forth. They were like the superpowers. Okay, Great Britain was like the superpower for a long time. Right. Okay, Great Britain was a superpower for a long time. So let's read verse 5. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. But y'all know. Not the Inquisition. Yes. The Inquisition. Yes. Susanna said it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The Inquisition. Yes. The Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition. Because it's funny because when it says the 7 heads, the main European families that were persecuting everybody with warfare under Catholicism was France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, the United Kingdom, and Great Britain. They all were persecuting and had a hand in slavery. France, Germany, Italy, Russia, Spain, the 7 superpowers, minus Greece, because Greece is a province. But France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Russia, the United Kingdom, they all had a heavy hand in colonizing the world. That's why when you go into Africa, Great Britain, Spain, and all of that, they own that. Like Portugal, they own all of these areas. Like the Africans don't own their areas. Like the Queen of England owns West Africa and so on and so forth. Like, you go to Jamaica, like what country controls Jamaica? I think it's what was it, Great Britain and Jamaica? I'm not sure. But what I'm saying is that these European powers, they colonized the world. Between all these European powers, they colonized the world. Okay. The European powers colonized the world. They own everything. Okay. All of the best countries and stuff, they all go back to European rule. England, Slovakia, England was Jamaica, right? Yeah, England was Jamaica. So what I'm telling you guys is that this beast has control over the world, which is the European powers. Okay, is everybody following? All right, is everybody following? We're gonna get all of this. Somebody asked a question. Can you break down how the white image Jesus is he? Yes, we'll break that down. We got a lot of breakdowns dealing with that, but we'll break that down at a later time, okay? Because I want to get through this class. So let's go from there. So read verse 4 again.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 4.
And
they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
Read.
And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him?
Now watch this. Read.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
All right, so that's a time period. Okay, it's not a literal 42 months. It's a spiritual thing. It's a time period that this person or this dragon, which is Rome, will have power. Okay, so power was given to him. Now let's read verse 6. Read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Okay, so how did he blaspheme against God? Let me see if y'all paying attention. How did the beast blaspheme against God? I'm talking to the chat. Put it in the chat. How did the beast blaspheme against God? Give me an example. We just touched on a couple. How did the beast blaspheme God? Anybody know? I know it's a little lad. Give me Romans chapter 1, lad. Iconoclasm. Yes, iconoclast. Lying that his son is white. Absolutely. Yes. Yep. Sold his birthright, of course. But specifically, this beast blasphemed God by iconoclast, blasphemed God by paganism, Christmas, Easter, all of the Christianity that was handed to you, coming in. Watch this. Coming in the name of Christ, and you're keeping paganist practices and customs. That's how. What other nation did that? Did the Arab nation do that? Did the Chinese nation do that? Did the Chinese nation take the Bible and put Christmas in it? Did the Chinese nation take the Bible and put Easter? Bunnies that lay eggs, that go back to Semiramis. That's why we got to get our people out of Christianity, because Christianity and Catholicism is a direct religion of the beast. Christianity and Catholicism is Satanism. Christianity and Catholicism is Satanism. So how did he blaspheme God? He gave you Christmas. He gave you Easter. He gave you Sunday. And told you if you don't keep these things, we'll kill you. He told you Jesus' birthday is on December 25th. He told you Christ was a white man that was a homosexual. Caesar Borgia. Give me that. Now let's get Romans chapter 1 and read verse 23.
The book of Romans chapter 1 verse 23. And change the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible men and to birds and four-footed beasts and creeping things.
You see that? Change the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man. So they gave you your Caesar Borgia, gave you your white image of Christ. This is how the beast blasphemed. Read verse 21 again.
Verse 21, because that when they knew God, they glorified him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination.
All right, that's it. Let's go back to Revelations 13. Y'all see that? So how did this dragon, how did this beast blaspheme against the Most High? By paganism and putting the name of Christ with that. Read verse 5.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies.
Read.
And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
Read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
And what happened? How did the beast make war with the saints? Well, guess what? If they didn't take Sunday, what was the Emperor Constantine's edict? Kill all the Jews that don't want to keep Sunday as the new Sabbath. Okay? The battles. Jewish and Roman wars. Siege of 70 AD. Okay? Okay? Let me share my screen. The siege of 70 AD. What happened during the siege of 70 AD, family? What did the beast do in the siege of 70 AD? Okay? The Jewish Roman wars had a devastating impact on the Jewish people, turning them from a major population in the Eastern Mediterranean into a dispersed and persecuted minority. The first Jewish Roman war ended with a devastating siege and destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE or 70 AD, including the burning of the Second Temple, the center of the Jewish religion religious and national life. Roman forces destroyed other towns and villages throughout Judea, causing massive loss of life and displacement of the population. Read verse 6 again. Read verse 7 again.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 7.
So I don't know. Do y'all see this? We're literally seeing this in real time in history. We're seeing the prophecy be filled out in history, and it cannot fit no other nation but the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire is that beast, because we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out who's that extension of that Roman Empire. You can't even argue this. You can't even argue this. Read that in verse 7.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
Siege of 70 AD, and other Roman and Jewish wars too. But the prominent one, which we were wiped out, was the siege of 70 AD. Read.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
Didn't we read that in Genesis chapter 27? He said, one day your brother's yoke will be taken off, and you gonna have dominion over your brother. And that day Esau vowed to kill his brother. Let's go from there. Read verse 8 now.
Verse 8. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world.
Now, everybody of our people whose name is not written in that book of life will worship this beast. This is why your grandma, your aunties, your cousins, they can't let that Christianity go. Christianity is a satanic religion. Catholicism is a satanic religion. This is why we go against it. Islam is a satanic religion as well, but Christianity and Catholicism comes in the name of Christ. They all satanic religions, but the beast handed you this Christianity. That's why majority of our people follow Catholicism and Christianity. That's why we have to teach against it. We have to teach against it. And unfortunately, some of our people are going to be caught up in worshiping the beast and the beast system. And it is really sad. But we have to stay strong in the truth of the Bible. Let's go from there. Read verse 9.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. If any man have an ear, let him hear.
All right. Now, notice how the Most High said. He said, if anybody have an ear, let him hear. That means he wants you to pay attention to this, y'all. So now we see Rome. But now, hey, Lord, there's going to be another beast. There's going to be another beast that's going to come. Read that, verse 10.
Verse 10.
Watch what the Most High is going to do. He's going to give you a context clue. A context clue helps you figure out what it is you need to know about a situation or a thing. Read verse 10.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
So he's starting off with, he that has an ear, let him hear. And he's letting you know that this particular situation is going to start off with captivity. He's saying, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. Read.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword.
And he that kills with the sword must be killed with the sword. Whose birthright was it to live by the sword? Whose birthright was it to live by the sword? Can't make this. I'm not that good. Not that good. I'm not that good. I'm not. You can't make this up. It says he shall do what? Read it again, Lord.
He that killed, Salakia, verse 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity.
Read.
He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
Here's our patience. Why does it say here's our patience? Because we got to go through it, because it is a prophecy that he has to persecute Jacob. So we have to go through it with patience. We got to go through it, family. We got to go through it. Right? Watch this. Read.
And I beheld another beast.
Now, another beast is coming out of nowhere. Who is this other beast? Read.
And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb.
Now, this is very important. It says another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. So, y'all, what is a lamb? Is a lamb a threatening animal? What does it mean he had two horns? This beast had two horns like a lamb. Is a lamb a threatening animal? No. So essentially what the Most High is saying is he's saying that analogy, a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's perpetrating himself to be a lamb. This particular beast is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Right? Watch, read.
And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb.
Read.
And he spake as a dragon.
But wait, he had two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. What dragon did he speak as? That old serpent, Satan. So he speaks. So he's the spokesperson for the beast, for the dragon. So this beast will act as a spokesperson. What's a spokesperson? A representative. This beast is going to act like a representative for the dragon. He's going to speak for him. He's going to be the top cat. Y'all see where I'm going? All right, watch this. Read.
And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him.
Wait, now, who was the first beast before this beast? It was Rome. We identified it. What superpower outside of Rome and the European economic communities, what superpower came up, birthed from Rome? America is an extension of Rome because America is an extension of Great Britain. This beast right here is America. They came directly after Rome, meaning AKA Great Britain, AKA the 7 European superpowers, Germany, France, Italy, the EEC, the European Economic Communities. America was birthed from those. And America speaks, or is dressed as a lamb, because what does America promote? Everybody, unity for everybody, love. He's the sheep in wolf's clothing, but he speaks as a beast. He speaks as a dragon. He speaks as the devil. Do y'all understand? Do y'all get it? The Bible is cold. This second beast is America. This second beast is America. And this beast had a hand in taking us into captivity and destroying the sons of Jacob, just like all the other beasts, like Rome did. And then what did America do? Followed in his mother's footsteps, right? Took us into slavery. The Romans kicked us out of our land, and America picked our ass up and brought us over here to our 10 tribe brothers for captivity. After the beast came over here, destroyed our Native American brothers, called their area America, and then brought the rest of their brothers back over here to meet them in captivity. You can't make this up, man. Same beast. Said he's a lamb, speak as a dragon, right? Read verse 12. Exercises the same power. Read.
And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast.
Read.
Whose deadly wound was healed.
Wait, how do we worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed? Because what's the two prominent religions in America? Christianity and Catholicism are the two prominent religions in America. And where did those religions Where are those religions founded from? Rome. He caused you to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed, which was Rome under Catholicism and Christianity. And all of our people fell for it. This is that beast. I'm getting chills right now. I mean, because the Most High is waking us up right now. He's showing us who these people are and who is the main proponent that controls America and Europe. The Caucasian man. The Caucasian man. This is why we say he's the devil, because he speaks as a dragon. Y'all understand? We not wrong for saying the white man is the devil. AKA Esau, AKA the dragon, AKA the serpent. The spirit works in the children of disobedience. Y'all see that? This is some heavy stuff, but it gets even more. Read verse, watch this. Read verse 13.
Verse 13.
Read.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
How did this beast make fire come down from the heavens in the sight of all men on the earth? How did this beast do that? Let me show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all. Y'all probably already saying it in the chat. Y'all probably already saying it in the chat. How did this beast cause fire to come down from heaven? Nuclear war. Nuclear war. More exact, the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's how this second beast, with his military power, caused. Read it again, loud.
Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
He does great wonders, and he makes fire come down upon the earth. This guy right here. The devil. This guy right here. Watch this, y'all. The image of the beast. Y'all see why we call this man the devil? This is the man that did that. Read that again, Lob. Read verse 13 again.
Verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
This man right here, the father of the atomic bomb.
Man, that's cold. That's cold. Because, after that last lesson, I'm doing more research on it when you did the part 1. So
which lesson? The new.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when I know about the revealer.
Right? Yeah.
But now when you look at this man, Oppenheimer, you see on that image right there how it has Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
It's because Albert Einstein is the one that provided the equation that Oppenheimer used to get what it did. But guess what? Albert Einstein is a Jewish man.
Woo!
And they say he the smartest man upon in the world, his IQ, and they both had the same experiences. They came up with these equations, and that's how they got to the atomic bomb.
Came up with these equations out of nowhere.
Great wonders.
That's the dragon.
That's the dragon.
He like, oh, I haven't forgot. Your ancestor made a deal with me.
Right.
So I'm going to give you these equations to create this weapon.
Right.
From Genesis chapter 27, when it
crazy.
says you shall live by the sword. The
Right.
modern day sword is the bomb.
That's crazy.
Y'all see that? Y'all see that?
And it continued. I said this last thing. My bad.
Go ahead.
And it continued because so after Oppenheimer, after Einstein, you get Oppenheimer, and then you start getting the involvement of NASA. But the founders of NASA follow after the Roman Catholic Church when they was in the occult and they was doing devil worship, and they said while they was doing these rituals, they came up with equations to get NASA.
Wow.
So it's a continual thing.
You might have to do a lesson
yeah,
on
going
that.
to that. Yeah.
It's a continue, but it all fits this beast.
Yeah,
this is his power.
Right.
But this is how he creates these things that we have, because he's been given this power by the devil himself. This is why we say the white man is the devil. Right. Is this playing upon tables? It's so easy. Even my daughters at home watching, they gonna understand. At this point, if you don't want to understand the prophecies of Revelation chapter 13, you just want to be blind and you want to worship the beast. Somebody, Don said, yeah, we need that lesson, Lob. So I'm gonna get that to you. I ain't even gonna take your shine. You do that lesson. Put that lesson together. They said we need that NASA lesson, man. We need that. Put that together, right? Let's go from there, man. We got more though. Read verse 14.
Verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
See that? He has power to do in the sight of the beast. The beast gave him these miracles to be able to do, and he deceiveth the whole world, because guess what? Who's going to make war with this beast? Nah, just listen to me and I'll give you democracy. I'm the big bad guy in the world. I'm the one that's the savior in the world. I'm going to save you from persecution in Iraq and Iran. I'm going to save you from persecution in China. I'm going to save you from all these big bad countries and give you freedom and democracy. You understand? I'm going to do that. He is this beast. This is why we call him the devil. And he is the accuser of the brethren, because what is he doing? He's saying, and I'm going to give you the freedom to indulge in all your sexual lust, all your sexual fornications, all your drugs of choice, all your gluttony, all of that, which is all attached to spirits and demons, by the way. I'm going to give you all of that. You can have all of it. And then you know what his spirit father is going to do? Go to the father and accuse us. Like, look what they doing. I got my physical representation, the white man, giving them ability to do whatever they want to do when they lust. And look, God, they leaving you for my white man. That's what Satan is doing to God. So he's accusing us using his physical image to give us the temptation upon the earth. He's the accuser of the brethren. That's why we have to denounce fornication, sexual immorality, so on and so forth. And we have to live. And that's why I told you guys in the beginning, the most important thing that you need to know is Galatians 5 and the law. You know, the fruits of the spirit and keeping the laws of God so that you could be safe. All right. Let's read that verse 14 again.
Verse 14. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Read.
Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
Now, what is this image of the beast? Is this a literal image? Well, let's figure this out. Let's go to Revelations 13. Let's see what this word image means here. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm going to share my screen in a sec. What was that verse? 14? Let me see.
15.
15, Salakia. Yeah. Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay. Share. All right, so let's look at this word image. Okay. Now, when you look at the outline of biblical usages, it says an image, figure, likeness, an image of the things. All right. Used in the moral likeness of renewed to men to God. All right. So likeness, one in whom the likeness of anyone is seen. All right. So likeness. Okay. So the image is going into the likeness. Let's look at I like this one. Outline of biblical usages. And 2 right here. I'm gonna read 2 right here. The image of the Son of God, into which true Christians are transformed, is likeness not only to the heavenly body, but also to the most holy and blessed state of mind which Christ possesses. So it also goes into having a state of mind. So remember when I told you, when you're made in a likeness to somebody, it doesn't mean that you look exactly like them. It's just that you're in the state of mind or the frequency that they're in. So my son, he has my mannerisms. He has my charm. He has my sarcasm, so on and so forth. He's in the likeness of me. He has my attributes. Okay. So this is what this is going into. So when you look at the Strong's definition, it says a likeness, statue, profile, or figuratively representation, resemblance, image. So representation. So when you read about this image is not like a physical image coming out the ground. It's a likeness or a representation. So what is the likeness and representation in America of? What is the likeness and the representation of America of? Satan. Meaning you speak the same thing. You believe the same thing. If America tells you it's okay to have homosexuality, you believe that and you speak that in its image, in its likeness, in its state of mind. That's why Christ said this. We notice with Christ, because Christ speaks about it. Hold on one second. Hold on, let me see. Let me show y'all real quick. So it's a spiritual thing. Let me pull this scripture up real quick. Oh wait. It's a spiritual thing. Give me John 5 and 43.
Book of John, chapter 5, verse 43. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive.
Okay. Now he said, I come in my Father's name. Give me John 14 and 9. So it's not like it's a spiritual thing. It's not a physical image. This is a spiritual image, right? Read John 14, 19.
The book of John, chapter 14, verse 9. Yahushua said unto him,
14 and 9. I'm sorry, Salakia.
The book of John, chapter 14, verse 9. Yahushua said unto him, have I been so long time with you? And yet has thou
read verse 8 first.
Verse 8. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father.
Hold on 1 second. Sorry, y'all. I got this this app is keep promoting this to me. Hold on 1 second. I want them to be able to. Okay, go ahead, read it.
The book of John, chapter 14, verse 8. Philip said unto him, Lord, show us the Father, and it sufficeth us. Yahushua said unto him, have I been so long time with you? And yet hast thou not known me, Philip? He that have seen me have seen the Father.
Read.
And how sayest thou then, show us the Father? Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself.
So Christ was like, look, if you see my Father, if you see me, then you have seen my Father. Okay? If you see me, you have seen my Father. Okay. Let's get this. Oh, give me Colossians. Yeah, it's Colossians. Colossians 1 and 15. So we can know that this image is not in Revelations 13, it's not a literal image. It's actually a representation of something. It's the same thing Christ is explaining, him being like his Father. If you see me, you see my Father. I come in the name of my Father. It's speaking of coming in the name of something. And in this case, in Revelations 13, coming in the name of wickedness. That's that image. Read.
The book of Colossians chapter 1, verse 15.
Read.
Who is the image of the invisible God? The firstborn of every creature.
Okay, y'all see that? So the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creatures. So he's the image of the invisible God because of he comes in the name of his Father. So when you look at this image here, read verse 15 again in Revelation 13:15.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 15.
Read.
And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. That the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would now worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So what is this image? In political terms, this is called freedom and democracy. The freedom to be and do whatever you want to do. Live a life of fornication. Live a life of sin. This is that image. Because the beast speaks what? Sin, right? The beast speaks transgression, right? So when you live in the ways of the beast, you are taking part of his image. That is what this is talking about. That is what this is talking about. I did a lesson on it not too long ago, well, actually some years ago, where I talked about social engineering. Okay, and this is where you're getting into the mark of the beast, because the mark of the beast is not a literal chip. Now, what are we saying? Are we saying telling anybody to get the chip? We're not telling anybody to get the chip. What we're saying is that the mark of the beast is following the image of the beast, which is wickedness, keeping transgression, fornication alive. That is wickedness. That is the motto of America. What is the motto of America? Wickedness. You understand? Read.
Verse 17, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
What does it mean, the mark in their right hand? Your right hand dealing with your works. Your forehead is dealing with your mind. Right. It's not a literal chip that they're going to implant in your head, Israel. They're not going to put you on the table, operating table, and drill holes in your head and put a chip in there. They're not going to do that. Because like I said to my good brothers, Sakari, when we had that debate years ago, if the mark of the beast is the sign of wickedness, how the hell do we have Edomites denouncing the chip? We literally got Edomites like, we're not taking that. Hell no, we literally got Edomites. You can type YouTube and you got Edomites breaking down how the chip is the mark of the beast. How the hell are they denouncing when they are the beast? It ain't dealing with that. It's dealing with the spirit. Because they cannot denounce that because they are the beast. The beast cannot denounce the beast. That's why Christ said, can Satan cast out Satan? Christ was like, can Satan cast out Satan? Satan can't cast out Satan. How the hell we got Edomites telling you not to get the chip? It's not that. It's a spiritual representation. And how does he cause rich and poor? How does he call rich and poor, free and bond to get the mark? I'm about to show y'all. We'll get into the can't buy nor sell in a second. Y'all get hung up on the can't buy nor sell, and that's easy work. Hold on one second. How does he do it? Through what? Social engineering. Social programming. How does he cause rich and poor, free and bound to receive the mark in their right hand and in their foreheads? By socially engineering the next generations. That's why you have to monitor what your kids watch on TV. That's why you have to monitor what your kids listen to. This is why Esau controls entertainment, and entertainment is the hub of wickedness. Social engineering is a term used for a broad range of malicious activities accomplished through human interactions. It uses psychological manipulation to trick users into making security mistakes or giving away sensitive information. So social engineering is a psychological manipulation tactic. So yes, they're going to promote homosexuality on TV, and the older generation might shun it, but they like, man, I don't care about the older generation. I want to get your kids. So now 10 years ago, it was weird seeing a man and a man kiss on TV. Now it's not weird. And your kids don't think nothing of it. It's not weird to see a man go into the woman's bathroom no more. It's not weird to see a man for our younger generation. It's not weird to see two girls kissing at school now. It's not weird to see none of that. It's not weird to have even STDs. Everybody got what's that STD that everybody got? Herpes. Everybody got herpes. That's just normal. You see what I'm saying? Like STDs is now normal now in the world. Like, oh, it's normal. You look that strange if you don't got it. If you don't got herpes. If you don't got 6, 7, 8 bodies. If you just got one husband. If you just got one wife. You are the anomaly now. That's social engineering. This is how they're teaching you to get the mark. It's not no damn physical chip. Now, let me ask a question real quick. Okay, I'm gonna ask this question, then we're gonna get my brother's precept. Let me ask you a question. I asked a good question. And I'm gonna go into the mark too, though. Don't trip. The mark, I'm not gonna go into a detail right now, but we're going into the book of Revelation. So I'm gonna touch on the mark too. But just to touch on it a little bit, I'm gonna ask this simple question. During the time of Jacob's trouble, are you gonna be able to buy and sell? Let me ask you a question. In Jacob's trouble, are you gonna be able to buy and sell? We're not in Jacob's trouble yet. Are you gonna be able to buy and sell in Jacob's trouble? When they start persecuting you, are you gonna be able to buy and sell? I'm just asking. Let me ask you a question. Were they able to do business? Let's just say in the time of the Greeks. Yeah, we're gonna be in the wilderness. That's a fact. Well, in time of the Greeks, let's do this. They had to flee Jerusalem. They had to flee into the wilderness. They were living in the wilderness. You ain't gonna be able to be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go to the movies and none of that. Let me ask you a question, right? Let me ask you a question. When Kanye West got out of line, y'all remember when Kanye West was making all those comments about the Jews? What did they do to Kanye West's money? What did they do with Kanye West's money? They froze his accounts. When Kanye West, who remember when Kanye West got out of line? They froze his accounts. Who else did they freeze their accounts? Who else was it? Kyrie Irving. When Kyrie Irving was talking all that Jewish stuff, what they do to his accounts? Nick Cannon. When Nick Cannon did that interview on the Israelites being black, what did they do with his accounts and his money? Did he need a chip for them to do it? Let me ask y'all, did they need a chip for them to freeze their money? No, they did not. All they got to do, put sevens in the chat if you got a bank account. Put monies in account. Put monies in account. Put sevens in the chat. Put sevens in the chat if you got a bank account. Okay, 777. Everybody got bank accounts? Okay. Do you guys know when you put your physical money in a bank account that you really don't have no money in there? They literally are sitting behind a computer and typing in. And if they wanted to, they can delete all that and you have no money in your account. Do you know they can, everybody that got a bank account and you put your money in a bank account, do you know that they can delete your money out of your bank account and you have $0? They don't need a chip for that. They can just delete your money in your account. That's why the banks crash when everybody tries to withdraw their money at the same time. And you only got a limit on what you can withdraw in certain accounts because you really don't have no money in there. It's all a digital number. It's all a digital number that they type in a computer. And the banks play with your money. You don't need a chip for that. So how does it look? No buy nor sell? Easy. Everybody that profess themselves to be an Israelite and walk in that faith, delete all the money out their account. You don't need a chip. That's why do you think right now they're trying to take away physical cash and everything's going digital? Some places don't even take cash no more. And I bet all of y'all got Apple Pay. And all of y'all got a credit card, a debit card. You don't need cash anymore. A great point, a blockchain. It's not hard for them to stop you from buying and selling. You don't need a chip. Do y'all see what we're talking about here? So the image of the beast is the ideology of the beast. How does he cause you to receive the mark? He caused you to receive the mark by social engineering. And you receiving the mark is you accepting the beast, the image of the beast, in the beast. Read verse 17 again. Read 17.
Verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Read.
Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Now the funny thing is, we talk about that 666. Remember, the beast and Satan is everything Christ is on the left-hand side. Why does he use the number 6? Because what is God's number? 7. And what does the number 7 mean in the Hebraic language? The number of completion. And what does the number 6 mean? Incompletion. So the beast is everything that is opposed to Christ. It's everything that Christ is and the Father is. So Satan is acting as the Father. Esau is acting as his people. And his image and his ideologies is acting as his commandments. That's what's happening right now. Does everybody see that? That's the full breakdown on Revelation chapter 13. Okay. Oh, go ahead. Get that precept. Yeah.
So also going back to the point about the mark, which she already done broke it down, right? So obviously we'll have more lessons just to talk about the chip, the mark, and all that type of things. But when you follow the ideology of Babylon the Great, then you follow the customs. You follow after the sin. You follow after the policies. You follow after everything that's the blasphemy that's against the Most High. Now, when you go to the book of Job, right? chapter 10, verse 14, it says this. This is the book of Job, chapter 10, verse 14. If I sin, which is transgression of the law, if I sin, then thou markest me, and thou wilt not acquit me from my iniquity. So the mark becomes after following after the beast. The whole chapter in Revelation 13 that the brother just broke down was all giving you the spiritual sense of what was happening in the spiritual world. So you telling me now when we get to the end, now it's only talking about a physical chip? No, it's a spiritual mark that you taking on after you worshiping after this beast. So take that down, man. We have more breakdowns on it, but you know that's plain and simple. Job chapter 11 verse 14 or 10 and 14.
Khan, all praises. All right, man. Well, that's all we got. Well, man, you know what? Nah, I gotta touch on this. So now let's see some more of the image of the beast. Before we end out, hold on one second. Hold on. I gotta touch on this. Now we got like gods, right? Like, so we got like Molech, right? You can see representation. Now, I did a lesson on this a long time ago. Now, fun fact, Molech, I'm gonna show y'all real quick. Okay, remember I told y'all that idol worship are devils? Remember we went over that? Okay, we talked about that in the beginning of the class. When worshiping idols or these false gods are really actually demonic forces like Molech and Beelzebub and Semiramis. All of these are actual demons. Okay, so let me show y'all a couple of examples of America and their God. Hold on one second. All right, so let me share my screen. Watch this, guys. Okay. All right. So Molech. Okay. So Molech, in religious texts, Molech is often understood as a Canaanite god associated with child sacrifice, particularly in the Hebrew Bible, right? So this figure became associated with the Greco-Roman accounts of child sacrifice to Baal Haman in Carthage. And in Christian tradition, Molech was sometimes depicted as a demon. The name Molech has also been used allegorically to represent any demanding cause or idol that requires extensive sacrifice. So Molech, I wanted to point this out. Molech is the god which desires child sacrifice, and with child sacrifice, you know, he's supposed to bless you and so on and so forth. And he actually extends to the Greco-Roman, which this is what we're talking about in Revelation chapter 13, the Greco-Roman Empire, right? Which is that beast. Now, notice how it says child sacrifice. What is America known for? Abortion. How many children are aborted in America where you can literally kill your seed and give it to Molech? You can't make this up. This is the beast. Molech. Literally, we're killing our babies. How many children? I looked it up. Hold on one second. 1,038,100 children each year. Just from last year. That was just from last year. So over 1 million children. Dang, I thought I had that article. Let me just look it up right here. Over 1 million children just last year in 2024. Over 1 million children were aborted. Over 1 million children were aborted just in 2024. America is showing you who their God is. The spirit of the image of their gods is right here, living present with us. If you abort your baby, you are sacrificing your child to Molech. And America tells you can do that. And everybody else says that's fine to do because you are in the image of the beast. Y'all understand? Y'all ever seen this right here? This figure? This eagle right here? This is come from Egypt. This bird right here, you see the 6-point star right here? This come from Egypt. The sun disk. America is showing you they worshiping all the same gods of the ancient world, because all of those same gods are the devil. See that? This bird, which is a staple image for America, comes from Egypt. Y'all see that? I did a lesson on this before where I showed you guys. All right. Look at this. You got a I'm just going through showing y'all stuff. You got an obelisk called the Washington Monument. We talked about this not too long ago. This is the Washington Monument. But the Washington Monument is an obelisk. If you know what an obelisk is a Egyptian practice where when a king dies, you build this because it represents him turning into the sun god Ra. And we have this in Washington, D.C., and this is built for Washington. This is the Washington Monument. When Washington died, they built this for him as a representation of sun worship. And when a president is sworn into office, he has to look at this thing and swear to this thing. This is why we don't vote. Yes. Y'all didn't know that? When you are sworn into office, you're sworn in by the Washington Monument, and you're facing the Washington Monument when you're sworn in to the presidential office, because you're swearing in to sun worship, which sun worship is directly related to Satanism. Because why do they worship the sun? Because they say the sun is a representation of Satan, because Satan gave us enlightenment. Freemasonry and Illuminati and all that. This stuff is deep. I'm telling y'all. This man worships Satan. It don't even stop there. Apotheosis of Washington. This is a Greek and Roman pantheon of gods in Washington. Apotheosis of Washington. Look that up. These are all Greek gods right here. And you see who's in the middle right there? George Washington himself. Y'all see Poseidon right here with the trident? This is in Washington. All right? This is a Greek and Roman pantheon of gods. All right? Here it is right here. Let's see what gods are on here. Nev said, for those who have seen, read about it, for those that have not, let me elaborate. It is basically a romantic neoclassical depiction of Washington's image, elevation to God status, elegantly rendered on the dome, which is just below the actual bronze statue of freedom, the tops of the building. So this is under the bronze statue of freedom in Washington, D.C. It is a monument showing Washington's imagined elevation as a god status with the pantheon of gods. In the painting, Washington is surrounded by the Greco-Roman gods. Y'all understand? Here it is right here. So America is showing you who they worshiping. Look at this one right here. This is Poseidon right here. This is in Washington, D.C. This Poseidon. What is Poseidon doing in Washington, D.C.? Poseidon Neptune depicted in the fountain in front of the U.S. Library of Congress. This is Neptune. Poseidon represents the planet Neptune. What did God tell us in Jeremiah chapter 10? What did he tell us in Jeremiah chapter 10? Bring that out.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 10, verse 2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them.
Y'all see that? So again, yep, making you worship that first beast. All right. Make you worship the first beast. So That's all I got for y'all tonight, family, man. So that was Revelation chapter 13, and that was a full breakdown of it. So we're gonna keep going in Revelations. So don't trip. We're gonna keep going. With that being said, man, I hope everybody was edified tonight. Make sure y'all go back and take notes. This was an important class, and we love y'all. We love y'all. We love y'all. Enjoy your Sabbath, and let's continue to fight for righteousness. Khan, all praise to the Most High, and we'll be back with y'all tomorrow. We'll be back with y'all tomorrow for Sabbath class, ending class tomorrow. So I love y'all. Stay up. Don't take the image of the beast. Don't take the mark of the beast. Fear God and keep his commandments. All right. Shalom, family. Till next time. Shalom. All praises.